Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the New Year Best You Dream Big Summit. I am here with author Kelly Browne. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is going to be so much fun. Like I've been saying for the past 3 days, we ask everybody in our community to pick a word and kind of anchor in that word for the year rather than doing all these resolutions. And I'm telling you, Kelly, we have talked. I'm going to just rattle this off for a minute here. We talked about purpose with Indiana Gregg, effort with Sally Huss, commitment with Rebecca Silence, perseverance with Joe Spurley, compassion involving an element of taking action with Mary Joy. These have all been so cool. Goals was Rick Keller. That was fun to talk about goals with him because he definitely knows how to set and reach goals. Transformation with Carolyn Lewis. Pamela Gail Johnson was on there last night talking about happiness, and then Gina Ziola with abundance. Kimberly Reed today talked about optimism. Wayne Canal, I said his name wrong earlier, talked about care, and here we are with you. What word did you pick? I think I know from the background, but I'm just
I picked forgiveness. I definitely picked forgiveness because that is something that I think is universal for all of us in our lives. And I think it would resonate, especially as we start the new year.
yeah. Don't you think like somebody listening to this summit is getting a pretty good it's almost like a healing energy or something like a I don't know. It's pretty it's powerful these words. They're and every single speaker has really explained nicely why they do what they do, why they picked that word. Maybe they have a book about it or whatever. And I know you have a new book coming out.
Yes.
You're an author of how many books? 5?
This is my 5th book, I have to say. Yeah. I can't believe it. It's kind of like a surreal. I never ever thought that I would be writing books ever because my background is entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like I was tapped on the shoulder. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. What's where I always ask this, what's your website so people can kind of find you while we're scrolling around? Do you have a website?
I do. It's Kelly Browne with an E.net. And I'm on Instagram as Kelly Browne6. So
Okay.
it's a great way to follow updates and stuff.
The other thing I've been having our speakers do, rather than me reading, like right here, reading a bio about you, that's a paragraph long or whatever. That doesn't make for good watching. I was asking everybody to just give like one or two couple sentences about like who you are. If it goes a little longer, that's cool, but just introduce yourself to us so we know more about you, please.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So my background is in the entertainment industry. I grew up in Los Angeles. I have 2 beautiful girls, Greta and Ava. I'm gonna cry.
Hi.
They're like the light of my life. And I never thought that I would become a writer like this. It's just so crazy. But I feel, it's something that has helped me help others and heal people and bring gratitude and thoughtfulness and kindness into people's lives. And now moving on to forgiveness. So that book, the books behind me, the Mindful Forgiveness book is a book that's coming out in March. And the other book is 101 Ways to Say Thank You. That's been a bestseller.
Yeah.
Yes, that's been a bestseller in its category. And they're all on Amazon. Mindful Forgiveness is up for pre-order. And yeah, I'm just a girl from Los Angeles. That's all I can say. I'm just an ordinary girl.
Ordinary girl from Iowa. That's where I'm from. I live in Maine now, but I grew up in Iowa, raised in Iowa, everything Iowa. So yeah, not entertainment industry, but always wanted to be a writer. So here we are. Let's do this. So tell me a little bit more about why you picked. I see the book, that part might be obvious. Right. I know why you picked forgiveness. You have a book about it, but
yeah,
tell me really why you picked forgiveness and maybe why you wrote a book on it.
Why I wrote a book on it. Well, we were just chatting before, and it was actually how the book happened was it was an accident between the agent and the publisher on wanting me to write a book on how to say you were sorry. And I didn't really have the experience or, of what that looked like in my life, of writing 100 sorry apology notes or whatever. And I realized after going through traumatic events in my own life, um, that an apology really incorporates forgiveness. And and forgiveness is universal. It doesn't matter what religion you are, where you come from in the world, what your profession is, how old you are. It speaks to all of us. And it's critical that we understand how to manifest forgiveness in our lives so that we can give it and we can let things go that have hurt us, no matter, things that have happened when we were children or things that happened in high school or professionally. We have to understand how to release that energy.
Yeah.
So that's really how it all came to be.
Thank you for that. It's a beautiful book cover. What's the
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna just kinda go off
Oh,
my
sure.
intuition for a minute. What's
There
the
we
book
go.
cover mean? Why did you choose that, uh it looks like water
Okay.
almost, yeah.
It's water. Yes. So, this was kind of really important to me because, um, you know, the cleansing of water goes back to biblical references, and there's something for me personally about going to the ocean
Mm.
and releasing things
Mhm.
and the washing away and the force of the water and how the water brings new life and new things. And I just felt like this was a way that could resonate to everyone, no matter who they were. Like, because forgiveness is free, forgiveness is for all of us, and water is makes up 90% of our bodies. And I just felt like that was a really good image that we
Mm.
could connect to.
How do you Okay, so new year, we're embracing our
Yeah.
new year, we've got all these words and everything. Talk about releasing past moments that have hurt us, and finding forgiveness to be our best in 2023.
So if you were to think about how your life would be different in this moment, as we enter the new year, right? And you think about like grudges that we've held on to, or just like through the holidays just now, and people that didn't come to the family gatherings because you're mad at them for something that happened 10 years ago. You start thinking about these things that you're holding in your heart. And how would things be different if you weren't holding on to these things in your life, right? Because you're the one who's continuing to give it energy. So what are these moments that brought you to your knees, right? And people say, "Oh, just get over it. Come on, move on. That happened to you. Let it go." But feelings aren't a switch. And sometimes these things that have hurt us, whether it's traumatic, a death or abuse or horrible things that have happened, maybe someone doesn't even know. These are life and death situations that have happened in our lives that have hurt us deeply. But holding on to these things, your body, your energy in your body, every time you think of those moments, it's like your blood rises, your blood pressure goes up, and
Mm,
it creates disharmony in your body and it makes you not feel well, right? So, a dear friend of mine said the word disease in itself is dis-ease, right?
yeah.
So, how do we let that go? Um, in my new book, I uh, stole some inspiration from the Desmond Tutu book with his daughter, Mofu Tutu, on the book of forgiveness, which is focused on apartheid, and how they forgave their captors and their murderers and things that had happened to them. And actually, Mofu Tutu gave me an endorsement that's on the cover of the book because this was so important to me.
Yeah.
One of the things that they had in the book was if you were to carry a stone around all day, right? Carry a stone in your hand all day long. You're carrying it, it's 10 pounds, whatever. No one sees you're carrying the burden. No one sees you're carrying the stone, but you do. And at the end of the day, you put it down. And how different is your life from carrying the stone all day? Because you're remembering the hurt. You're remembering it all. And I thought that was so, um, like, not only visual, but impactful, because it's a conscious decision that we're making to choose to release things that we're carrying in our heart. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, I hope that's a really important takeaway for people that, are carrying things that no longer serve them
Yeah. No,
as they
I
go
like
into the new year.
I'm thinking as you're talking a little bit. I'm listening and thinking at the same time.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah, it's a topic, boy. What do you do? I'm gonna just kind of ask you a few things. What do you do with people who are mad at the world?
Mm. I think that you can choose not to have certain people in your life. I
Mhm.
think that we can love people and accept them for who they are. But when they are angry all the time, yeah, I stop now because of all the things that have happened in my life. And I try to say, okay, how can I have compassion for that person? How can I, look at them differently? And they have their own journey that they have to heal and, be overcome these things that have hurt them. Um, when we look at people that have committed heinous crimes, it's usually because of hurt feelings, because someone called them names or someone rejected them romantically. It's crazy. So, you know, we have to be really mindful of how we engage with others, how we communicate with someone else, and have that intention of being responsible for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Being responsible for what we say and do.
What do you think about people who are? It's not. What do you think about them? But what advice do you have for people themselves who are mad at the world because of something that's happened to them
Mm.
or their loved ones, or that they're just mad at the world like that?
I mean, I just my first thoughts go to sending them positive energy, prayer, trying to not have them be in your life where they're a constant causing chaos,
Mhm.
or they are crazy makers, right?
Mhm.
If you're in a relationship with someone that's, is your husband or a wife, and they're mad at the world and they're causing chaos, like, you don't owe your life to anyone. You have a choice to disengage and move forward and have joy in your own life. I mean, it's difficult. People think they're stuck. Um, as far as people outside of our circle, like again, like, let's just keep it focused on the people that are in our
Yeah.
circle. Like, you can choose easily to change your relationship with someone. You can release them and, still be cordial or whatever, but you don't have to bring them into your personal spaces.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It sure does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hope they find forgiveness for whatever it is, right? Just
Oh, 100%. a
some
hundred
forgiveness
percent.
for them. You got a couple comments. My favorite author, love her. So you got,
Oh,
yeah. Hi, thank you
yay.
for coming and being here.
I can't see it, but thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no, we got
Yay.
a couple comments of love for you, so that's lovely, right? Who
Aw,
doesn't
that makes me
want
feel good.
that?
Yay. Thank you so much.
So let's keep going and talk about, so if I'm looking down, it's because I have notes on you. Sorry, I have to kind of look
Sure.
and you have
I
everything.
have notes too.
Yeah, good. I think we do. Whenever you have a conversation about, words and things like that, I mean, my whole thing here is notes on the topics and the people and everything. So I'm looking down. Um, what are the steps to creating forgiveness? Not only for ourselves, but maybe for other people too. Like, do you have, like is it even like what is forgiveness?
So I think that when someone says, well, just forgive them, like when you're in first grade or in kindergarten, and something happens and the teacher says, just say you're sorry. Just say you're sorry. This is how we're, like, bred in this culture to just, give it away, and you're just saying words without a meaning to it, right? Um, I think that we need to be aware of the fact that this is not giving forgiveness, but this is creating forgiveness for ourselves and understanding that forgiveness is just for you, really. It's choice that you're making to release any kind of suffering that you're holding on to. And it's an opportunity for you to heal wounds and release like toxic feelings that make you not feel well. Again, you know, when you harness heavy energy or grudges, that only manifests in disease in your body and makes you not feel good, period. Um, Forgiveness is not condoning any kind of harm that was committed against you ever, ever. It's not being weak. And it doesn't disregard the impact that it's caused you, especially if you have post-traumatic stress disorder. Doesn't mean someone can continue to push you around, but it means that you create a boundary and you create a new relationship with that person if you're continuing to have them in your life, right? You can choose to forgive someone. As Taylor Swift said, you don't have to forgive someone, but you can choose to be indifferent, right? You can choose to say, I'm letting this go, right? You don't have to renew a relationship if you don't want to. But if you choose to, you have to let that grudge go, right? But you can also release the person from your life. You can say, like, you know, I love you, I forgive you, but I cannot have this kind of energy in my life anymore. And I wish you well. Yeah. So that's like the kind of page that I've been on, like, you know, trying to just create kindness in my life and peace. And, you know, it's a process. It is a process, right?
Well, I was talking to Kimberly Reed earlier, and she was kind of saying the same thing. She's just kind of cleaning up the people around her, just up her circle and things like that. And she goes, I turned 50, and it was like an epiphany, you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, I told her, I'm like, I'm going to be 54, you know, kind of
girl,
thing.
I'm ahead of you. I'm so ahead of you.
It's all good. But, you know, I get it though. You know, it seems like every decade has something. And it seems like you get to be about 50 and the light bulb goes on and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have to do this.
Right.
You know, I don't have to
Right.
put up with that or whatever. I don't know. And some of the things that I'm learning now, I wish I had learned a little earlier. And I think that's kind of the beauty of the self-help industry these days is these messages are out for people of all ages. So you don't have to learn it in your 40s and 50s. You can learn it when you're 15, 20, 25, 30, younger. Do you agree with that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I lost you for a second on my sound, so
I can tell you were kind of like, "What's she saying?" Can you hear me?
Well,
Okay.
no, it's just I think where you're going with it is that, you know, as we reach different points of our journey and in our lives, like, you know, we have a greater understanding of what's important to us, and you know, it again,
align with that, don't you? Everything aligns with that.
100%. Like this also, I think that the world is going for a greater spiritual awakening and an aha moment of paying attention to our intuition and paying attention to like how we treat other people and how our actions affect others, especially in this world of instant communication, right? Where if we write something online, you know, how it affects other people. So, you know, one of the things that I've written about in the book as well is this public condemning of others, which I think
can't stand that. Yeah, go ahead.
I
Sorry,
I don't understand. Like, you know, who are we to judge anyone else? I'm sorry, but that's that person's journey, and if they've done what they're, you know, done something wrong and they've made amends, let them move on. Why are we making videos about it? Like let's focus on that beautiful football player who's a walking miracle right now.
That's so cool.
Right? Like let's focus on the things that are good. And let's bring that into our life. And like the things that you're doing yourself, Elizabeth, with, showing people, hey, you can make your life better, and focus on these power words as we walk into the new year and be the best version of ourselves, because that's going to affect other people in our world. And it's like, I always talk about the magic of gratitude in my other books. And when we give our gratitude and our thoughtfulness and kindness to someone else, it's like an electric current that goes to you, right?
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you're kind to someone else. So it's like that positive energy just flows. And, like, these words that are so empowering do have the ability to change not only our life, but other people's lives, that multiply and multiply and multiply.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important.
I'm smiling from ear to ear right now because I just want everybody in the chat to like throw some hearts and smiley faces and love for Kelly. It's my first time meeting Kelly. Um, so
Oh,
type in that chat if you agree with me. Like, is she not the nicest human being on the planet? I think you are such a sweetheart,
gosh.
and so well spoken and so kind and thoughtful. I can just tell how thoughtful you are and just very sweet. So
Well,
uh,
thank you so much.
yeah, it's fun to meet you.
You
I
too.
feel like I've sort of semi-stalked you with your books without knowing you yet. I love your books before even knowing you. And I was
Oh,
like, when I saw you had moved over to HCI and had a new book out, I'm like, oh my God. I told Lindsay, who helps us in the background, I'm like, Lindsay, I need her. I need to meet her. I need to interview her. It was so
that's
cute. So thank you for saying yes to being here, because it's a moment for me where I get to interview my favorite author
oh,
and realize what's so cool. Oh, I have goosebumps when you get to meet your favorite author, because I love that. I don't know the mindful forgiveness book yet. I didn't get a chance to read it before this interview, but I know the other book, the thank you book, and I know how much you talk about gratitude. But it's so cool when you get to meet an author and they're the real deal for
oh,
real. You know what I mean? They're not disappointing. So thank you for that. Yay. Just sweet. I have goosebumps everywhere because you're the real deal and you just sparkle. So I've tried to match every author in some way with my clothing. I don't know if you've noticed.
yeah.
Everybody picked up on it. Like Joe, I had baseball and everything. And to me, you sparkle. So I've sparkled on for you.
Thank you so much.
And my earrings even sparkle. I never wear these earrings. I'm like, I'm putting them on for Kelly.
It means to me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, everybody's chiming in. Yep, she's the best, the absolute best. Yeah, I agree, guys. So you got a fan club. I love it. Um, all right. Yeah, no, you're super welcome, and you just you I can see you almost in tears, and we don't mean to put you in tears. Sorry.
I
So
know.
much wisdom. Here comes the comments. So keep those comments coming in because I'm gonna read them, and I just love her. So all right,
Gosh.
what is mindful forgiveness? Here's what I want to ask you. With forgiveness, where you're like, I need to tell them I forgive them. Do we
Yeah.
really need to?
So, I think that there are people in your life that you can't connect to anymore because they've passed, right?
Yeah.
Or there is someone, that you just wouldn't want to contact for whatever reason. There are so many ways to give forgiveness energetically. So I think I'm answering this question properly,
No,
right?
you got it. Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly where I hoped you were going.
Some of the things that I put in the book was, different ways. I'm very spiritual. And I think that no matter what religion you are, we all connect to a higher power, if that's what you believe in, or the universe, or, there's something greater than ourselves. And when you put that spirit of I'm sorry, or I forgive you, or whatever, I'm sorry that happened, or you can either do it pen to paper, or you can write it on a literally. I was at a hotel in Phoenix, and they had stones in the hotel that you could write on the stone what was upsetting you, or that you wanted to release, and go put it in the desert. There's different
Cool.
ways of connecting that you can physically let it go. People also write their hurts on and burn it in a fire, right?
Mhm.
So that you're burning up the energy. It's like that physical act. Fire goes all the way back to ancient times of purification and wishes, and is across all of our religious ceremonies, and even, like, the candles on a birthday cake. The birthday cake is designed as the moon, right? It's round, and it's all this, the power of intention, which makes me remember, one of the important things about mindfulness is, well, first of all, mindfulness. Can we switch to mindfulness for one second?
Yeah, I was hoping you would kind of segue in there because it's
Okay.
all of
So
everything. Yeah.
my definition for mindful forgiveness is your mental decision to consciously choose to disempower resentment by energetically releasing the incident from your thoughts, rendering it powerless, and moving toward inner peace for your happiness and healing. So it was really important for me to, thank you,
Yep,
to
right there.
write it, because it's like a shift in your mind
Mhm.
of, oh, wait a second, this doesn't mean that they got away with, hurting someone or hurting me, but I'm letting it go. I'm going to stop thinking about it. Um, and so, how do we do it? How do we get that mindfulness so that um, we can stop having it occupy our mental time and feel like we're chained to that incident, right? So there's many ways of being mindful. Prayer, right?
Mhm.
That's the very first thing that comes to mind. People, immediately call on God or the angels, or you can say a prayer. There's prayers in the back of my book. There's a Hawaiian prayer. I love you. I forgive you. I love you. Um, Getting yourself grounded is a great way to step into being mindful. Um, but the most important thing is to remember your breath. When we are born in this world, the very naked, no clothes, no material possessions, but we grasp for the breath of life, right?
Mhm.
That is what we need to survive. And when something happens, someone breaks up with you, or you hear bad news, or you hear, or somebody hits you or does something terrible, the very first thing that happens is we stop breathing, right?
Yeah.
And now we can't connect to our life source. We can't move forward. We stop breathing. We're like in the emergency room, our fists clenched. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And we're calling on God. We're calling on spirit. We're calling on divine intervention, or the gods, or whoever you resonate with, to help us breathe, right?
You know that I've been resuscitated twice, right?
Oh no.
I don't know if you knew that. Like
What?
in my Hay House book, I write about, yeah, I have life-threatening food allergies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, as you're talking about breath, I'm sitting over here going, I know what that's like.
See,
For sure. Yeah.
even so much more important, because you have had a life and death situation.
And one of them was while I was pregnant with our son Cam. I
Oh,
was 6 months pregnant being resuscitated, so it was really, really terrifying.
and here you are in this.
From eating a cookie with walnuts in it, and I'm deadly allergic to walnuts. So I ate a chocolate chip cookie with walnuts in it while pregnant with
Oh my.
our child. So yeah, that breath. You can feel things with that. The stuff takes your breath for a second too, just even talking about it. So
Right.
it's so
And
what you said that was so important here also is grounding yourself, because
right.
that grounding yourself, even like if it's grounding yourself in gratitude, or grounding yourself, what we're trying to get you with one of these words is ground yourself in forgiveness for the year, ground yourself in purpose, ground yourself in compassion, whatever it is. Pick
Mhm.
something where you kind of know your center, where you can come back and go right here, right? You
Right.
just did it right here, mindfulness.
I
How
am
do you
so
feel
moved
about
right
you?
now by what you said, because
Yeah.
like that completely
Does it make
is,
sense? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
like, and it brings me back to what we were just saying before about being in your 50s and self-care.
Oh, yeah.
And if we don't have that self-care every day of doing meditation or prayer or exercising or connecting for ourselves, then we have no cup to pour from. One of my friends, as I was going through all of this trauma in my life, which we'll talk about on your podcast,
Yep, you're coming on.
right? Was she reminded her friend, her name is Cindy Mays, and she also had gone through a lot of trauma. She said, Kelly, when you're on an airplane, the flight attendants tell you to put your oxygen on first. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so true. And I was doing so much for everybody else.
Yeah.
And in all of this trauma, and if we don't have that, our breath, right? If we don't have our self-care, and think about like what we're going to choose to live in our mind and our hearts,
Right.
then we're giving our life over to someone else. I was just watching the Steven Spielberg film, and the mother said to the son, "You don't owe your life to anyone." And I thought, oh my gosh, like that is so, transformative, because you don't. And I mean, you really were resuscitated 3 times with a child. Like,
Yeah.
that's really,
It was really scary. We were in the hospital for a while after that in Minnesota. Yeah. The what I was thinking about too is, the whole oxygen mask thing. I think that's one of the most difficult things to do when you're a mother. Like I'm also a mother of I have 4 boys. They're now 21, 23, 25, and 27. But I can remember this concept of self-care being kind of like out the door, because they were, 2, 4, 6, and 8, or 0, 2, 4, 6 kind of thing. And so I think about moms right there, working moms, at-home moms, whatever kind of moms, people, caregivers, anybody taking care of someone, and how important it is to stop, pause, and do what you're talking about. Do you agree? Because we got
that's important. And I know in my research, my editor had me do a little bit more research on mindfulness, and I came across something called Japanese forest bathing. And it was basically that Japanese researchers had people walk into the forest and use all of their senses, sight, smell, sound, touch, and how it lowered their cortisol levels and made them healthier, happier. It's all about, meditation, right? So as moms, if we could just
spot on. People are texting us. It's all good. Love what you're saying, Ding.
So like as a mom, I wish someone had said, go take a walk for 20 minutes, feel the earth, like look at the clouds coming in. Thank God, for this day that, touch the earth, lay on the grass for 5 minutes, take that 20 minutes for you, because it would have made me, I think, better for myself, and a better mother, a better person to be around, or whatever. But I tend to carry everyone's stuff. And, oh, what can I do to fix it? Oh, let me do it. Now I'm like, oh no, it's all about me now. Now everyone's in college. So
I have 4 in college. They're
all over their business
in college, but you kind of got the same thing going on. So yeah, ours were raised with #gratitude on the refrigerator. So they've had like a full dose of, being kind of raised with that, but not in the beginning. It took a while. It kind of took my dad's stroke for me to kind of understand, not feeling like a victim over my own food allergies and things like that, kind of starting Best Ever You, and, some things. So, but I get it. Yeah, that's really good advice what you just gave to moms. So we're at the 6:34 mark. We're about 5 minutes over, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't really want her to go, but we're gonna have to. We gotta kind of wrap up. I know we haven't talked about everything here. In fairness, is there something that you want to say that we haven't covered that that you really want to share?
I think that this concept of, which is also in the book, about the spirit of intention, and that is everything that you hold in your life, besides being mindful and your breath, is the spirit of intention. Like, do you want to heal a situation? Do you want to put love into it? Or do you want to continue to harness heavy energy, which is not serving you at all, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that spirit of intention to heal and love. That is
Beautiful.
what I think is so important.
Beautiful. All right.
Yay!
Yay, we did it. All right. Thank you so much for being here. So, so wonderful to meet you. Um,
Yay!
and her eyes do sparkle, don't they, everybody? Mindful forgiveness. It's in pre-order, right? Like everybody could
Yes.
like go from here to Amazon and grab a copy of your book in pre-order mode. Pre-order means a lot to authors because it's a gauge of how well our book is doing. And then when the book actually comes out, it's really important for us to go to Amazon and post reviews and things like that because Amazon is kind of the spot for authors these days um,
Yes.
for gauging how well a book is going to do and whether it's carried in bookstores and all this stuff. But I also give a shout out to the independent bookstores though too, because it's so nice to go locally and throw a pre-order in through your local bookstore too.
Yes,
Matters
definitely.
a lot, yeah. So the other thing I have before we close is we want to say thank you to one of our sponsors, Vermont Nut Free. They're near and dear to my heart. They're the only way basically I can have chocolate because it's nut free. So they're doing a giveaway. So
Oh,
everybody who entered stuff in the comments, whether you need nut free or not, everybody's entered into the drawing. They're going to give away a pretty nice sized basket of goodies for
oh,
some.
that's so
We'll
nice.
do that. So I just want to make sure I mention that on most of the shows. I'm doing little mentions every
No, and
now.
also chocolate is a great way to ground yourself.
Don't you?
It
I drown myself in chocolate all the time.
is a way to
Not
ground.
drown myself in chocolate, but ground.
I actually have an extra
Anyway,
in my book about
I'm kidding.
mindfully eating chocolate.
It's so
So
delicious. Good. I'm glad now it's my favorite book for sure because
yay.
I do love myself chocolate. When can we order it? Someone asks. You can pre-order it now. Like you could actually open up a tab, go over to Amazon while we're here, and actually pre-order that. So that's a good thing to do for Kelly. It really helps her out. So
Thank you.
anyway, so good to meet you. I can't wait to have you on my podcast when your book comes out. Thank you for all your wisdom and your information. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for your love. And that's what I got.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye, Kelly.
Bye bye.